This is the Louie T Network.
Man, I love some football. Man, I love some football. My favorite week is week 1, cause I'm watching football. First comes the preseason, and I don't take a day off. And then it gets even better when your team makes the playoffs. 32 teams go hard for one thing. They work for one thing. That Super Bowl ring. 32 teams go hard for one thing. They work for one thing. That Super Bowl ring. We in the lab room.
Louie T, welcome. You are in the lab room. Of course, I am your host, Lou. Thank you for joining me. Week number 9 in the National Football League. The Oakland Raiders taking on the Seattle Seahawks. Hawks are finally going home. Seems like they've been on the road for a while now. Went to St. Louis, dropped one. Went to Carolina, got one. And traded Percival Harvin. All since the last time they've been at the crib. So feels good to get back to the Hawks nest if you are the Seattle Seahawks. Home sweet home. If you're the Raiders, woo, tough. You're a winless group looking for your first win of the season. Hey, few come out of there with a W, man. Many have tried. Many have failed. And so it's going to be a tall task and a huge order to ask you to go in to Seattle and get one. But look, why not? You got to win sometime, right? You're not going 0-16, right? So why not? So let's see how the Raiders fare as the Seattle Seahawks look to continue to try to get back on track as they look to string together 2 consecutive wins in 2014. So I thought Oakland succumbed to the pressure of the environment that is CenturyLink Field. I thought the rain, that mist, I told you about that whole rain button. Boom, they hit it. Rain starts coming down. The crowd is loud. It's Seattle. It's CenturyLink. That whole aura about that stadium, I thought the Raiders came in and they were wide-eyed. They were looking around like, man, this place is crazy. Just like it looks like on television. I mean, they had that kind of look, deer in headlights. And you could see it on the field. The play reflected how I thought they came out and felt early on in this game as the Seahawks jumped out to a 17-3 lead in that span. You got a huge pass interference penalty on DJ Hayden that sets the Seahawks up for their first touchdown in the game. And that was a beautiful touchdown. I mean, just classic vintage Marshawn beast mode Lynch. Not stopping the legs, pumping forward, kind of willing his way into the end zone. Of course, he gets some help on the way from the offensive lineman who push him into the end zone. But that was all heart, all guts, all Marshawn Lynch. Get into the end zone for the first touchdown of the game. Then you get, what a play by Bruce Irvin. I mean, sometimes I'm disappointed with him because I feel like he should do more. But this play right here kind of, to me, exemplifies what he brings to the table. He's not just a guy that can get to the quarterback. He dropped into coverage and he looked natural in his fit. In zone coverage, deflects the football, then picks it off, gets to the house. Bling, bling. House call for Bruce Irvin. And now it's all of a sudden, they tack on a field goal. It's 17-3. Seahawks jump out on top. And Derek Carr struggled after Richard Sherman picks him off. That's when that other field goal jumps into play, and it's 17-3. So 2 early interceptions, the pass interference, thought the Raiders, like I said, that pressure of playing in CenturyLink kind of got to them early on. And I think that helped the Seahawks because it's not like the Seahawks offensively were lighted up. Ever since that Percival Harvin trade, sans the St. Louis game, because I thought St. Louis, they actually had a offensive explosion. Russell over 300, Russell rushed for 100. I mean, they amassed yards, they scored points, and defense let them down in that game. No, special teams let them down in that game. And so since that game, though, I thought, the Carolina game was rough offensively. This game, I thought the Raiders did a great job of really containing them for the most part. Russell Wilson was 17 to 35 in this game. Wasn't that impressive. And the running game wasn't all that. They had some penalties that called back some long runs from Marshawn Lynch and company. But I thought the Raiders did a pretty solid job defensively in this game. They just made too many mistakes. You can't make the kind of mistakes they made on the road and expect to win. But TJ Carey, I think if you're a Raiders fan, you need to be very encouraged with what you see with him, whether it be special teams or even at cornerback. I thought he had a strong game. He did have the one fumble, coughed it up on kickoff, but no harm, no foul. Seahawks missed the field goal, which is rare for Stephen Hauschka, but he missed. So you don't really get penalized for the fumble by Carey. I thought he had a strong game. Had a nice punt return, had 2 good kickoff returns, and like I said, had some good plays on the ball on defense. So TJ Carey's a guy to look out for if you're a Raiders fan. He's one of those guys that, hey, maybe we hit on a late round draft pick here, and this is a guy moving forward we can kind of roll with it and expect a lot of good football from. DJ Hayden drops a pick 6, and I know the young fella is just coming back and really getting his feet wet, but if you want to endear yourself to Raiders fans, if you want everybody to get off your back about being a first-round pick that has done absolutely nothing since coming into the league, make a play. Here's a golden opportunity. Russell Wilson gives you an opportunity to make a play. Put your name on the map. And you drop a pick 6, man. Come on, dude. Make a play. Later on in the game, you drop another pick. Make a play, dude. Make a play. Step up. So I thought that was a little disappointing. Raiders claw back into this game, though. After the half, they give up another touchdown. Marshawn Lynch able to get into the end zone. And so it's 24, and that was some great blocking on that Marshawn Lynch touchdown in the second half to make it 24-3. Looks like the Seahawks are going to run away with this game and ambush the Raiders. And then the Raiders say, hey, hold on now. We're going to make this a game. Ever since we've had Tony Sparano as our interim head coach, we don't get blown out anymore. I mean, we're a competitive football team. We might not win, but we're going to fight you tooth and nail. And so the Raiders said, hey, look, this isn't getting out of control. They block a punt, which is huge, and it's able to be recovered by Bryce Butler in the end zone, and so that makes it 24-10. Then Derek Carr settles in. I thought he settled down, started to play much better in the second half, takes the team down the field on 4th and goal, is able to find Michael Rivera in the back of the end zone to make it 24-17. Things are getting a little tight in Seattle, and just when the Raiders had all the momentum, 2 consecutive possessions where they find a way to get in the end zone and cut this thing from a 21-point lead to just a 7-point deficit, They have a chance to get off the field. I thought this was a turning point in the game. They had a chance to get off the field on 3rd down, and they get the stop that they need, holding on Terrell Brown. I thought that was crucial because 2 plays later, Marshawn Lynch catches a screen pass, ends up picking up a good chunk of yardage, probably like 35, 40 yards, puts them in field goal range. Stephen Hauschka knocks it home. They end up taking a 10-point lead at that point. They tack on another field goal to go up by 13 at 30-17. Raiders make it interesting late with another Michael Rivera touchdown to make it 24-30. And then they kick an onside kick, and the Seahawks actually put it on the ground, but they actually recover when it's all said and done and are able to run out the rest of the clock as the Seahawks hold on at home 30-24. Wasn't that impressive by the Seahawks, but again, doesn't have to be pretty, just has to be a win, and that's what it was. And for the Raiders, you competed. You made a ball game out of it when it looked like this thing was going to get out of control. But at the end of the day, you got to find a way to win. Seahawks do that in this game. They're still trying to figure out what they're trying to do offensively now that Percival Harvin is out of the picture, and now that teams don't really have to game plan for anybody but Marshawn Lynch and trying to stop that rushing attack. I know the Seahawks have a lot of guys that can get you at the receiver position. Doug Baldwin. They're just getting Norwood and getting his feet wet in the offense. And, of course, they got the young kid Richardson that's a burner. But right now, nobody has stepped up and said, hey, I'm that alpha male. I'm that alpha dog at the receiver position. And so I think right now they're kind of in that transitional phase of trying to figure out what they're going to do with the passing game. But until you figure it out, how about you lean on the running game? I thought they didn't run the ball enough in this game. Again, Russell Wilson, 35 passing attempts. It's a rainy day. It's the Oakland Raiders, who have one of the worst rush defenses in the league. Why are you throwing the ball 35 times? I didn't understand, especially It's not like you were in a 13-10 ball game. This was 24-3 at one point. You should have been pounding these boys into submission. Instead, you took to the air. You gave the Raiders a chance, and they took advantage. They made this a ball game. So again, I feel like the 49ers and the Seahawks are still missing the fact that they're rush-dominant teams that need to run the football and allow their quarterbacks to manage the game. I know that seems to be a term that is looked upon as a negative connotation. No, manage the game, damn it. You throw a touchdown pass when it's there. Pick up a third down and 4. Move the sticks. That's what Russell Wilson does best. He manages the game. If he needs to throw for 300 yards, he can. But why? You don't have to. When you got this running game, I'm going to tell you what, Marshawn Lynch, man, you guys are going to miss him next year when he's no longer around. This dude is the truth, man. Every time, and we already know this. We know this to be a given, but still, when you see it, I mean, that touchdown run, on that screen that I talked about that set up that house field goal that kind of put it back to a 10-point lead and kind of put it out of range for the Raiders, that was some nifty moves. I mean, for the guy to be so physical and so aggressive when it comes to running over tacklers, for him to be so aggressive and physical, the guy's nimble, man. The moves, he had one of these jump cuts like this, right behind the block. I mean, it was just gorgeous to see this dude. I mean, you're going to miss him. I just know that much. You're going to miss him when he's no longer there in Seattle. Seahawks get it done 30-24, run the record to 5-3 on the season. Big win for them in this game. The Oakland Raiders dropped to 0-8. It's tough, but it is what it is. You got to find a way to get one at some point this season if you are the Raiders. It's going to do it for Seahawks. Raiders, I thank you for joining me. If it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here in the Lab Room. Come back and join me as I've got a couple more games to break down in week number 9 in the National Football League season. In a bit.